Dangerous inventions that had to be banned. Number 1. The Wardenclyffe Tower. We all know Nikola Tesla was a genius, but his biggest invention was the one we never got. In the early 1900s, Tesla began building a massive tower on Long Island called Wardenclyffe. His goal was the wireless transmission of electricity. Basically, he used the exact same technology that wirelessly charges your iPhone today, but on a planetary scale. He believed he could use the Earth itself as a conductor to send electricity anywhere in the world. Imagine sticking a metal rod in your garden in the middle of Africa and having free, unlimited electricity to power your lights. No wires, no grid. But Tesla needed money, so he went to JP Morgan, the most powerful banker in the world. Morgan funded him at first, but then the reality of the invention hit him. If anyone, anywhere, anytime, can pull electricity out of the ground, how do you send them a bill? Once the bankers realized they couldn't monetize free energy, they killed the project immediately. They withdrew funding and blacklisted Tesla. The tower was dynamited and sold for scrap metal to pay Tesla's debts. The dream of wireless global power died because it wasn't profitable enough.
Number 2. Greek fire. This was the super weapon of the Byzantine Empire. Imagine a flamethrower, but in the 7th century, it contained a mysterious liquid mixture that was pumped through copper tubes and sprayed onto enemy ships or infantry. But this wasn't normal fire. It had chemical properties that made it much more deadly. First, it burned on water. If you jumped into the ocean to escape the flames, you just burned while floating. Second, water actually made the fire burn hotter. The only things that could extinguish it were sand, vinegar, or old urine. It was so effective that it saved Constantinople from Arab sieges twice. The Byzantines knew they had a game changer. The emperors were so paranoid about spies stealing the recipe that they never wrote it down completely in one place. The knowledge was passed down verbally to only a handful of people. It was the ultimate state secret. But they kept it too secret. When the empire slowly crumbled and the dynasty ended, the people who knew the recipe died out. Today we have guesses. Maybe it was crude oil, sulfur, and quicklime, but we don't know for sure. It was a weapon so deadly, it essentially deleted itself from history.
Number 3. The Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Lab. In 1950, the concept of child safety was virtually non-existent. The A.C. Gilbert Company decided that the logical next step for children's toys was a box containing actual radioactive isotopes. The Atomic Energy Lab was a chemistry set sold for $49.50, which is about $500 today. It was marketed as the most educational toy ever made, and to be fair, it was educational. The box contained a working Geiger counter, a cloud chamber for observing alpha particles, and 4 jars of genuine uranium and polonium ore. The instruction manual famously suggested a game of hide and seek with the radiation sources, ideally in your bedroom, where you sleep. You might expect that the authorities stepped in to ban this health hazard. They didn't. The set was eventually pulled from shelves, but not because of the radiation or the danger. It was simply because it was too expensive.
Number 4. The Radithor. In the 1920s, a guy named William Bailey invented the Radithor. Technically, it was an energy drink, but the ingredients list was short. Distilled water and a healthy dose of radium-226 and radium-228. They advertised it as perpetual sunshine and a cure for everything from fatigue to impotence. At first, the people loved it. It made them feel warm and tingly inside. The most famous addict was a wealthy industrialist named Eben Byers. He drank 3 bottles a day. In total, he consumed about 1,400 bottles. At first, he felt great, but then the radium started to replace the calcium in his bones. So his bones didn't break, they dissolved. Eventually, his entire lower jaw literally fell off. It just detached from his face and couldn't be saved by surgery. By the time he died in 1932, his body was so radioactive that he had to be buried in a lead-lined coffin, and he is still radioactive today.
Number 5. Unbreakable glass. This is one of history's biggest what-ifs. Imagine if the Roman Empire invented plastic 1,900 years before we did. According to Roman historians like Pliny the Elder, during the reign of Emperor Tiberius, a skilled glassblower invented a type of glass that wouldn't shatter. He brought an unbreakable drinking bowl to the emperor as a gift. To prove its quality, he threw it onto the hard stone floor. Instead of shattering into 1,000 pieces, the bowl just dented like bronze or gold. The craftsman then took out a small hammer and calmly tapped the dent back into shape. So he expected a reward for his genius invention. But the emperor just asked if anyone else knew how to make this special glass. The craftsman answered that only he knows how to craft it. Tiberius immediately ordered his guards to cut off the man's head. He was terrified of the economic disaster that this technology could bring because he believed that if glass became unbreakable, nobody would care about gold or silver anymore. The value of the Roman treasury would collapse. So he killed the inventor to save his own riches, while the secret formula died with him and hasn't been rediscovered since. That said, historians agree this invention is likely more myth than reality.
Number 6. Lawn darts. If you grew up in the 70s or 80s, you remember jarts. These were huge, weighted metal darts with plastic fins. The game was simple. You stand on one side of the backyard, and you throw this heavy metal spike high into the air, hoping it lands in a plastic ring on the other side. The problem were physics. When a heavy, pointed metal object falls from 30 feet in the air, it builds up a lot of kinetic energy. And since kids aren't known for their perfect aim, these darts didn't always hit the grass. They hit feet, dogs, and notoriously, skulls. A single impact could puncture a human skull with terrifying ease. After thousands of emergency room visits and several tragic accidents with children who were just standing in their own backyard, the Consumer Product Safety Commission stepped in. Basically, the government decided we couldn't be trusted with aerial shanks.
Number 7. Infinite light bulbs. Have you ever wondered why your light bulbs burn out so fast? That's not an accident. In Livermore, California, there is a light bulb called the Centennial Light, and it has been on for over 120 years. Early technology was actually capable of making bulbs that lasted nearly forever. But in 1924, the biggest light bulb manufacturers, including Philips, Osram, and General Electric, met secretly in Geneva, Switzerland, and formed the Phoebus Cartel. They looked at the math and realized, if they sell bulbs that never break, they will go out of business. So they agreed to artificially limit the lifespan of a light bulb to exactly 1,000 hours. They tested bulbs from their factories, and if a company made a bulb that lasted too long, they had to pay a heavy fine. This was the birth of planned obsolescence, the idea of designing things to break so you have to buy them again. The cartel eventually fell apart during World War II, but the damage was done. The industry standard remained at 1,000 hours for decades. From radioactive energy drinks to wireless electricity, history is full of ideas that were either too dangerous to exist or too good to be allowed. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.